Everybody, it's a little bit after 10. We're going to get started here with the Lake Michigan Beach Safety Summit. I will introduce myself. My name is Pat McGinnis. I'm the city manager in Grand Haven. I'm here on the chamber screen. There are several of us in this room and several more online right now. The reason we're meeting is just to bring together various Lake Michigan beach safety interests and really statewide. People that are engaged in the business of making our beaches safer places for the public. We were visited earlier, we're in Grand Haven here, and we were visited earlier this summer by a contingent from South Haven, Michigan, to talk about the types of measures we had taken to try to make ours a safer environment. And we learned a little bit from them, and they learned a little bit from us. And Kate Hosier and myself, Kate's sitting right across from me here, from South Haven. She's the city manager in South Haven, along with Mayor Bob Manetza, who's to my right, and Mayor Scott Smith, who was here earlier this summer, and others, Griffin Graham and some others that said, why don't we plan a time where we can just sit down and share stories and information about what we've done in our communities or our departments or our agencies or wherever it is we are, to try to make it safer. And we thought by talking to each other, we'd accomplish a number of things. First, learning from one another what it is we're doing. Second, making things a little more consistent across the Great Lakes or across the Great Lakes states, eventually maybe, where what you see in one community might be similar to what you might expect to see in another community, to avoid confusion. People who visit our beaches, we got to take things for granted, but maybe different messaging could be confusing to some people. So why don't we see if we can't all get on the same page? And then finally, we felt that gathering together might amplify our message of beach safety and respect the Great Lakes, respect what's going on out there because it can be deadly. And so all those things together caused Kate and I to agree we should set something up to connect at least once a year, because we hadn't really done it formally before as managers in the state of Michigan. But then we've also got state park managers and law enforcement and emergency response personnel participating today. So thank you all for being here, as well as some elected officials, and I see some media presence. So we're just trying to get the word out, and I may have to get up every now and then and let more people in the room. Forgive me.
Yeah, you can move that over by you.
Oh, I can bring the mouse with
Bring
me.
the mouse, yeah.
What the heck? There's no wires on this mouse. So, yeah, I got
State
that.
of the art stuff, you
Yeah,
know.
Tin Canada screen.
Yeah.
So with all of that, I thought we might very quickly, if we might, we're going to go around and do some introductions. We'll start here in the room in Grand Haven, just so we all know who is participating today. And then I'll go through the names that I see on the screen in the order I see them on. And if you could quickly unmute, let us know who you are and where you're from.
Well, thank you, Pat. Kate Hosier, City of South Haven. And I agree with everything Pat just said. We had a very nice visit with our mayors and city staff to learn about what they're doing, what we're doing, and of course, getting better ideas and more ideas as to what we can all do to make our beaches more safe. So thank you very much, Pat, for putting this on this year. And we'll see about what comes next.
Hi, folks. My name is Bob Moore from Friends of Grand Haven State Park. We have been invited to the monthly meetings that the city has in conjunction with the state park. And we have an interest in water safety. We provide some amenities for the state park with our fundraising that sometimes they can't provide for themselves. And we're here today to promote a water safety booklet that we're going to be producing. And we'll have more information on that coming. Thank you for having us.
Hi, my name is Tim Wheeler, and I have to say hi to Dan Hiblers. I did not know you were going to be in the meeting. Hello, Dan. My name is Tim Wheeler, and I own Wheeler Creative Studios. We make cartoons and interactive read-alouds to rescue childhood. So the topics range from cyberbullying to fire safety to moving to a new school. And I am here at the request of Bob to look at possibly doing this for water safety.
Hi, I'm Erin Carmody. I'm from Grand Haven Area Public Schools. I'm a 7th and 8th grade PE and health teacher. This summer, I worked with the Ottawa area ISD's Future Prep program, leading a high school student team on how can we make our beaches safer, working with Grand Haven Department of Public Safety. Our student team came up with a 2-tier solution about education and marketing. And we were invited by Pat to come in and continue to work on our project as we approach the Winter Academy season.
I'm Sarah Dahlman. I'm a senior at Grand Haven High School this year, and I was fortunate enough to be a part of Ms. Carmody's team this summer. So I'm here for more information.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Griffin Graham. I'm the Assistant City Manager and Harbor Master for the City of South Haven. Happy we're able to convene today. I know this is something we've been looking forward to all summer and something that's been contemplated for many years before that. So glad we're finally able to make this happen and look forward to what we can do moving forward.
Good morning, Brandon Hintz, Executive Director of South Haven Area Emergency Services. I'll echo what Griffin said. I've been looking forward to coming up and sharing some things that we've done this year and hopefully get some input as far as going forward, seeing if we can make our beaches safer. So.
And I'm Joy Gash. I'm president of the Chamber of Commerce, Grand Haven, Spring Lake, Ferrisburg. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Chamber Conference Room. We are so happy to host you. I'm a part of the Grand Haven monthly meetings with public safety and the DNR, and really think that this is awesome that this has been pulled together, and it's the first ever and one of many, I hope, for the future. Our beaches are important to all of us and are important to the state of Michigan as well. So beach safety is #1. So thanks for being with us.
Good morning, I'm Mike Zurich. I'm also with the Friends of Grand Haven State Park, and we're very interested in promoting water safety.
Morning, I'm Bob Menezza, Mayor of Grand Haven. I'm just so pleased to see all these interested parties coming together to get common messaging, common education, and safety first on our beaches, because it is just so critically important.
Okay, now I'm gonna go around the Zoom room. Jill?
Hi, I'm Jill Montgomery Keystone from Public Health Muskegon County. I am taking the place of Holly Allway today. She's triple booked from what I understand, so I'll be presenting information on Muskegon today. I've been with the task force since inception.
Excellent. Nicole?
Good morning. I'm with Future Prep from the Ottawa Area Intermediate School District. We had a team of students working with Erin over the summer on this, and I'm just excited for us to be able to continue the work with you and hopefully have the students be able to come up with something that could be useful for our beaches.
And Jamie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Jamie Ratcliffe. I lead the Great Lakes Water Safety Consortium. And we are an organization, a community of more than 1,000 people from all 8 Great Lakes states and Ontario, working together to help individuals be safer around the water, as well as advising communities and parks on ways to keep their residents and visitors safe year-round.
Okay, and Sergeant Hibbler?
Hello, yes. Dan Hibbler with the Norton Shores Police Department. So I run our community policing team, which obviously does a lot of our outreach and work in schools, but also Marine Patrol in the summertime for Mona Lake and our 6 miles of Lake Michigan frontage too. So I'm really excited to, any work we can do on unified messaging to help make sure that we keep the shoreline safe for all of our residents. And as a former member of our underwater recovery team, I know full well what it's like when things do go wrong out there in the water. So I'm excited for any progress we can make today. So thank you.
Jeff Felinsky, looks like you're with law enforcement.
Yeah, good morning. I'm Jeff Felinsky. I'm with the City of Muskegon Police Department, currently assigned to the Neighborhood Policing Unit. The officers that I work with are responsible for patrols at Pier Marquette Park here in the city of Muskegon. So I'll look forward to any information we can obtain from this and pass it on. Thank you.
Casey Mahoney.
Good morning. My name is Casey Mahoney. I'm the Cadillac District Supervisor for the Parks and Recreation Division. So we oversee in my district basically from Traverse City south to the Silver Lake area on Lake Michigan shoreline. So we have 2 supervisors from our district here today, Manny Valdez and Jim Galley. I've heard a lot of familiar names out there, but many of you are probably familiar with my counterpart in the Plainwell district, Gary Jones. He unfortunately couldn't attend the meeting today. So, but you've got a number of us from the DNR here. So looking forward to the conversation.
Okay, Dave Benjamin.
Hi, my name is Dave Benjamin. I'm with the Great Lakes Surf Rescue Project. We've been teaching Great Lakes water safety since June of 2011. We've done over 870 presentations in 7 of the 8 Great Lakes states. We also track the drownings in the Great Lakes, work with family and friends of drowning victims. We do a water safety, public relations, media relations campaign that's had over 1,300 media mentions since 2011 as well. We also do offer open water surf lifeguard and service training, as well as first responder, water rescue, and water resuscitation and service training. And we have a ton of special projects that are ongoing with many communities across the Great Lakes. Thank you for having me here today.
Thanks, Dave. Nick Curcio.
Hi, I'm Nick Curcio. I'm a municipal attorney with several clients on Lake Michigan, and I've been working with one of them on issues related to water safety pretty extensively, and I'm just here today to see what I can learn.
Thanks, Nick. If you hear of any of our best practices being big liability headaches, start waving your arms around.
Sounds good.
Okay. Pat Whalen.
Hi, I'm Pat Whalen. I'm the unit manager at PJ Hoffmaster State Park. Also filling in for Plainville District Supervisor Gary Jones, who is off this week. Spent about 9 years at Grand Haven State Park as a unit supervisor as well, and some of the early water safety improvements we made at that park.
Okay, speaking of Grand Haven, we have Andy Lundberg. You're muted, Andy. You win the prize for being the first one to have to be reminded.
I blame that on my laptop. So good morning. I'm Andy Lundberg, the supervisor at Grand Haven State Park. And I'm excited to meet everybody today, make some new contacts, and see what the future can hold for improving water safety here. We've done quite a bit, but there's always room for more. So nice to meet everybody today.
Thanks, Andy. Jim Galley. We will get back to Jim. Leo Evans.
Morning, I'm Leo Evans. I'm the Public Works Director for the City of Muskegon. City of Muskegon Public Works oversees parks, so I'm here today for that.
Okay, Leo, thank you. Sean Mulligan.
Good morning. My name is Sean Mulligan. I'm the unit supervisor for Holland State Park, and I appreciate the invitation. Always eager to hear about any new ways we can help improve water safety.
Hey, Sean, you said Holland State Park, right?
That is correct. Yep.
Manny Valdez.
Hello, I'm Manny Valdez. I'm the unit supervisor at Charles Muir State Park in Petwater. So also involved in water safety and keeping park visitors safe and aware of the conditions.
Right, and Andy Switzer.
Hello, I am Andy Switzer with the Muskegon YMCA. I am the aquatics director here, and I have been on the water safety task force for a couple of years now, and I've enjoyed the work we've done and look forward to learning about this.
Okay, we've just got a WZZM logo, so I'm not sure who that might be with WZZM. So everybody be on your best behavior. You might be on the channel 13 news at 6 p.m. Dana Skida?
Yep, Dana Skida. I'm lead worker for Holland State Park.
Excellent. Thank you, Dana. Stacy Sills.
Good morning, Stacy Sills from the Ottawa Area ISD. I'm the Regional School Health Coordinator there and excited to just learn more about this project.
And it looks like Ryan Cummins.
Good morning, everybody. I'm the community coordinator for the Muskegon Police Department. I'm wearing a couple other hats too. I'm on the Marine Division for Ottawa County. And I'm a council member for Grand Haven, so a lot of waterways being covered here, so welcome.
We'll give him, you want to introduce yourself 3 different times? We'll, give you 3 different hats there. So that's great. I mean, I hope I didn't miss anybody. I think I got everybody that's on the call. And we got quite a wide range of participants here today. And first, we're going to hear from Casey Mahoney, who is the Cadillac District Supervisor for Michigan Department of Natural Resources. And as I understand it, somewhat of a water safety spokesperson for the department. So Casey, we'd like to hear from you first today.
Thank you. So my understanding of what we were presenting on today was essentially what DNR does for our swim beach areas. And I guess I wanted to start by making sure that we understand that for us, for DNR, we kind of have a designated swim area, and that is the area where we concentrate our messaging and our signage. So the area of our swim buoys is where we post, warning signs. We post some informational signage. We have things like no beach guard on duty signs to let folks know that we don't have lifeguards posted at our beaches. We use the swim buoys, which basically prevents boaters from going into that area. We typically mark those at 5 feet, no deeper than 5 foot of depth at the end of those buoys. And then we use the traditional flag warning system, the red, yellow, green flag warning system that I would imagine everybody's familiar with. And then we also have throw rings at our designated beaches. Outside of that area, we don't have a requirement necessarily for safety equipment, but we do mark other types of hazards. So if we have a pier, say near a beach that isn't necessarily within our designated swim area, we will post some safety signage there. Some other examples I can think of would be, for example, at Ludington State Park, where there's a mouth of the river that meets Lake Michigan and causes some hazardous currents there. So we also mark and just sort of extend that warning signage there as well. Certainly a number of you aware of some of the more specific, like park specific efforts that we've engaged in, and I'll let others on this meeting kind of talk about those if folks are interested in sharing those. As many of you know, we did have a new land use order signed. It's going to go into effect in May 1st of 2022, which gives us some time to plan our policies and our procedures for enforcing that land use order and kind of what our rules are going to be to enforce that. So I think that's a summary really of where we are today and kind of where we're going. I don't know if there's any questions or if anybody would like any of our parks to speak specifically about any of the added signage or warning systems that they've initiated.
I have a question, Pat.
Go ahead, Bob. This is Bob Moore with the Friends of Grand Haven State Park.
Yeah, at one of our previous meetings, we heard that there was a task force for the DNR that's working on water safety stuff, and that you had assigned a new person to take care of that. And I noticed that he's not in this meeting today. Could you give us an update on that?
So we did start a sort of water safety committee. It's kind of an offshoot of our statewide safety committee. Understanding that our beaches sort of have specific needs and certainly have been a source of a number of tragedies, specifically along the West Coast. So that was formed, I believe, in February. We had our first meeting. I think the gentleman you're referring to is Brian Kellogg. He is our statewide safety officer. Brian comes to us from MIOSHA, so he has a lot of occupational workplace safety knowledge under his belt, and he is starting to learn some of our other safety related policies, like our beach policies and a number of others that MIOSHA doesn't necessarily have oversight of.
Thank you.
Casey, could you just maybe speak a little bit to the coordinated efforts of all the state parks? I mean, you just mentioned you do have a water safety committee that meets or has started to meet. Is there a kind of a template or a policy statement of any kind that everybody operates the same, or are these just all accepted policies with the red, yellow, green, and the throw rings and the 5-foot buoys? Or
Yeah, we do have a baseline policy, and that baseline policy is specific to beaches on the Great Lakes. And then there's sort of some added safety features, like the addition of a rescue boat for our inland lakes or parks that have beaches on rivers, which I can't really think of any right now, but so we do have a designated policy. Now, there are some parks who have kind of gone above and beyond that, either working in collaboration with local municipalities. Grand Haven would be a great example of that with the beach zoning that they've done. And a couple others have used, I guess, more visible warnings. So Ludington State Park added like an LED sign that sort of mirrors the flag warning system and just sort of provides like a second kind of backup messaging to sort of spread that message to people who might not be going just to the designated beach area, recognizing that some of our parks operate, 5+ miles of shoreline. The Porcupine Mountains Wilderness State Park in the West UP operates 27 miles of shoreline. So when we look at our messaging, we're messaging specifically to our beach goers who are using our designated swim beaches, but then also trying to figure out a way to get that message out to others who might not be swimming within the designated swim area.
so was that Ludington has an LED reader board? Is that Ludington you said?
Mm-hmm.
I know I think we've got our Ludington Park manager here, Jim. Was that funded by MDNR or was that a local Friends of Park type effort?
Actually, that was done. It was a joint project between the Friends of Ludington State Park and the park itself through some donations we had received. The Mason County Sheriff's Office provided the largest sum of money through that. They had an annual No Shave November where their officers are allowed to not shave and they're fined for every day that they come in without shaving. And then they are able to choose, some sort of nonprofit that they can donate that to. And they chose Ludington State Park and they specified that it had to do something to improve beach safety. And this was done in 2019, which was a year where we had 2 drownings occur near the Big Sauble River. So, we spent a lot of time together and talked a lot about water safety. And so they provided that funding. What we were able to do was just purchase an LED sign. It was about $1,000. It's an outdoor based sign, similar to what you would see on the exterior of strip malls or restaurants and stuff like that. So it's hardy, it stands up to the weather. We've been able to program it with a couple of different messages that we can easily switch back and forth through a remote. And we placed it at the entrance to the park, in a spot that we've determined that it's really hard to come into Ludington State Park without seeing it, and it really does jump out at you. It's not something tied to the National Weather Service directly. It still requires us to go out and monitor the on-site conditions. We also look at the river flow to see if that impacts the swimming areas, as well as the National Weather Service beach hazard statements.
That is excellent. Thank you for that information. And so if I get pulled over in Mason County by a bearded deputy, I should say thank you. As he gives me a ticket, I'll thank him for No Shave November. That's great. Okay, well, thank you very much, Casey and others. We can get Casey's contact information for anybody that might want it. And if that baseline policy is something that you could maybe send me a link to, if it's on the website or something, it might be interesting for us to read up on that, to appreciate that. I'm sure it's accessible. Howard Fake, the Park Township manager, did call and say he's triple booked. And he may show up towards the end of the meeting, so we'll try to get back to Holland Park Township. And I know we've got the Holland Park Manager here, so stay tuned. We'll get back to that, Sean. And I think there's another Holland representative here as well, so stay tuned. So we'll move on to Mercy Health collaboration, and I understand Jill Keast is filling in for Holly Alway for Muskegon County, and to talk a little bit about that collaboration. Go ahead, Jill, if you want to unmute.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I can see that I can share my screen. Oh, no, I can't. Is it possible?
I can set that up for you. Hold on one second. I'll get you set right up.
I have pictures.
There you go. You should be able to do it now, Jill.
Let's see what we got here. Sure enough, there she is. There we go. You see that? Well, everybody good?
Yeah, we can see it real good, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay, just always checking, you know, you never know whether you're gonna have internet connection or not. I'm telling you, it's just crazy sometimes. Anyway, the Muskegon County Water Safety Task Force actually has quite a long history. Oh, goodness gracious, began our work way back in 2008. And then around 2010, our group actually split up a little bit. And that was all related to funding. We were able to reconvene though in 2013, and thank the Lord for people like Holly Alway from Safe Kids and Mercy. She was actually able to pick up the ball and get things moving again. So this current Water Safety Task Force team was formed in 2013. We have stakeholders from public health, of course, me, law enforcement, municipalities, state and federal agencies. There's some nonprofits, and then just some concerned community members. Prior to the spike that we had in drownings in Muskegon County that happened in that time period, the city of Muskegon had discontinued its lifeguard program at Pier Marquette Beach. There was a huge concern in the community that nothing was being done to prevent drownings. And this was sort of a call to action that we had to prevent drownings in our community, way to collaborate and prevent drownings. The action plans that we had are actually based upon 4 different categories. It's Black, Watch, Learn, and Respond. In the early months of the Water Safety Task Force, there was really not a lot of consistency between municipalities and how they approached water safety at public parks, beaches, and marinas. The group actually did an assessment. They completed the first ever effort to catalog existing water safety equipment in public spaces and understand what gaps exist. Further, this inventory found that municipalities that had water safety equipment did not necessarily maintain the equipment. So for example, a channel may have throw rings posted along its walkway, but the throw rings may have disintegrated in elements and they really wouldn't be very helpful in an emergency. Equipping public water access points with water safety equipment was one of the first goals of the group. Today, the task force has more than 27 life jacket loaner and water safety rescue equipment boards in Muskegon County. There's at least one board at every public beach in Muskegon County, and several grants and private donations have supported the equipment purchases. They organized, or the task force organized a network of volunteers to monitor the equipment during the swim season. And we have inventory available to replace those things that are either unsafe or missing. We also realized that there were ways that we could amplify hazardous water conditions alerts to beachgoers. We worked with local law enforcement to send out beach hazard warnings via Nixtal, as well as creating social media posts in an easy shared format. Back then, the group promoted My Beachcast, which was an app. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with that provided real-time beach conditions throughout the Great Lakes. The Great Lakes Information Network, though, doesn't support the app. So we moved on to some other methods to be able to communicate those kinds of things. While there were some early successes, the water safety messages created by NOAA and the National Weather Service and other organizations were inconsistent and really not helpful in a cohesive beach safety plan. The messages were not necessarily designed in friendly and consumable format for beachgoers, which actually led to seeking other opportunities with partners that could help us create a comprehensive beach safety plan. One of the really neat things that worked out in the beginning, which was a little different than most, we were actually able to participate in an event called the Weekend Blitz. The event used design thinking to figure out new ways to shift culture and address needs in businesses and communities. We were selected as one of the candidates. During the Weekend Blitz, we were matched with print designers, user interface and experience designers, copywriters, illustrators, and strategists. And they help us outline a beach safety plan that we actually work off today. In public health, we address the issues by, of course, reviewing statistics and data, looking at research and reviewing what's been done in the past. The Weekend Blitz pushed us outside of that process by taking a deep dive into how the person behavior actually influenced their behaviors. And so we modified what we were working on based upon that particular profile. By finding out how people are similar and what makes people unique, you can actually create opportunities to enable safe behaviors and redirect unsafe behaviors, right? So here's the campaign. This is the result of the Weekend Blitz. It's called Beach Smart, and this is a behavior influence plan that they use to guide water safety efforts. It's a community-owned directive to support all beachgoers in being smart about swimming in the Great Lakes. It is built on the work of the Great Lakes Beach Hazards Final Report from the National Weather Service and is intended to be used as a blueprint to move towards regional coordinated water safety projects. The Beach Smart campaign developed tactics to ensure every person has the opportunity to be safe in and around the water. And at the end of the weekend, we had a list of actionable engagement strategies that utilized available resources and mapped the resources to the user's needs. This allowed for better coordination with our key partners and allowed for us to build on everyone's strengths. And it was a fun experience, by the way. It really was really interesting and very unique. The Weekend Blitz solidified our dedication to creating a regional water approach, Great Lakes safety, and seizing some non-traditional opportunities to collaborate with others. The Great Lakes Water Safety Consortium is one of the most influential partnerships that the group has developed. It's a nonprofit community of best practices connecting and serving safety experts and water enthusiasts, educating the public on water safety and safer ways to enjoy the water, and encourage leaders to take steps to make their beaches safer. The consortium connects us to various water safety stakeholders, including lifeguards, other first responders, some community leaders, park rangers, research scientists, meteorologists, parents, teachers, journalists, survivors of drowning, loved ones, and other drowning prevention advocates. All Great Lakes states and Ontario are represented in the consortium, giving it a regional focus. Our task force has aligned itself with the best practice developed by the consortium, including fundamental messaging, rescue equipment guidelines, and communications. I see that Jamie's actually on this call, so highly recommend you connecting with Jamie on this and work with some stuff that's going on in your community. While much of the effort has focused on making physical environment safer, it's also important to equip people with skills and information they need to be safe. So the task force hosted a local location for the world's largest swim lesson. This just took place a couple months ago. Thousands of sites worldwide participate in this event to provide an initial exposure to and teach key water safety skills. The goal is to get kids in the water and to sign them up for swim lessons. They partnered, or I keep saying they, but us, the task force, partnered with a local YMCA to support the safety around water curriculum, which educates third grade students on the importance of water safety. As I mentioned in the Beach Smart campaign, it identifies unique needs of different types of beachgoers. As a result, we're able to tailor education programming and messaging to make sure it meets all users and delivers the messages in easy, digestible ways. This can include water safety presentations to neighborhood associations, participating in community events to promote beach safety messaging, or sending beach safety ambassadors out to the beach to engage beach goers in conversations and activities that help them identify ways to stay safe. And this is what we're currently working on. As I was saying, we normally measure successes through drowning data, social media impressions, and the number of people reached with educational efforts. We were able, actually, we took advantage of the pandemic and sat back and sort of looked at what we had been working on before and evaluated our evaluation processes. We were able to, during the pandemic, create a water safety survey, and this was launched on World Drowning Prevention Day. The survey includes some questions. Included in the survey, Dr. DeCamp created for South Haven, but it goes a little bit further to include assessment of swimming ability, access to swimming lessons, identification of barriers to water safety behaviors, and assessment of how well the standardized water safety messages resonate with respondents. The survey closes in fall of 2021, and they're currently analyzing the results. We hope to administer the survey regularly to provide insight on how people access water in Muskegon County and make sure that we're keeping up with the community needs. The Beach Smart campaign also includes the incorporation of emergency technology to increase water safety. The city of Muskegon purchased the Swim Smart Tech warning system, installed it at Pier Marquette Beach in 2021. There's 2 warning lights located along the beach, and these lights provide beachgoers a brief report on water conditions, and it's pretty easy to interpret. At the time, the system's effectiveness is evaluated on its accuracy in reporting beach conditions. In addition to using emerging technology to enhance beach condition warnings, a newly formed partnership with the retired retail loss prevention specialist has led to incorporating emergency technology in the life jacket loaner stations and water safety equipment boards. This year, the task force was able to add Bluetooth tracking devices to some of the life jackets and throw rings in the boards that were experiencing inventory loss. And the tracker allows us to pinpoint the equipment location, has helped us decrease the amount of loss that we've had. The Water Safety Task Force owes its successes to the multidisciplinary nature of the group. The diversity represented in the membership and resources ensures its efforts are not solely risk management strategies, but instead the group proactively addresses the water safety across multiple domains and demographics. Any of the efforts and isolations would not be successful, so it's really important that we all work together. For more information on the task force, if you'd like to join the meetings, you can always contact Holly Alway at the number you see there, the email as well, or myself, and I'll connect you with the rest of the group. And that's all I have. Does anybody have any questions for me?
See if we have any questions in the room here in Grand Haven. Don't see anybody. I guess I would ask about that tracker that went into the life rings and the life jackets, and you were able to, do you have any fun stories about how those were recovered? Did you sneak up on somebody and they had a jacket on their boat, or?
I don't know, maybe the City of Muskegon Police or perhaps Leo could answer to any of that. I'm not quite so sure if there have been any interesting stories thus far.
As far as involvement from the City of Muskegon Police, we were not involved in any of that. I had a casual conversation with somebody that's in charge of making sure that those life rings are in place. And he was able to suggest to somebody that he knew that a life ring was missing and it was returned promptly. So there was success without the need for prosecution.
I guess I just wanted to find out if any of those ended up in Holland or South Haven, maybe. Budgets are pretty tight.
Right.
We'll know now, won't we?
Yeah, we know where to look. So thank you very much. That was very helpful, Jill. And next up, we've got South Haven Issues and Initiatives with Kate Hosier, who's here in the room with us. Kate, go ahead.
Well, thank you. So Pat, I put together a small little slideshow, but I can kind of talk through what we've been doing. So South Haven has really been looking at our beach safety. This kind of stemmed out of, as was previously mentioned in the Muskegon Task Force, we put together a safety survey, just finding out what people like and what's working, what's not working. And from that, the city council opted to put together an ad hoc committee to review our existing beach and pier safety procedures. We had reached out to our insurance carrier and looked to see what kind of guidance they had. They have a water and beach safety guide that we've linked on our that we put forward in front of the city council. We also have our beach safety plan that was adopted, I want to say in 2007 or 2008, and has been updated once or twice. And that's also on our website. The MDNR has a Safety at the Great Lakes Beaches page where they've got their flag system. And of course, we put our results of our community safety survey. Our beach safety committee looked over a number of topics, some of them being pier safety, whether more signage, barricades, or other ideas, beach safety on the beach signage, because in our beach safety plan, we actually have 3 signs, or the 3 flag colors, plus a third, which, plus a fourth, which would be a double flag. What kind of notification systems? We looked at our lifeguard program, or previous lifeguard program, what are the current standards, what's being done now? Also regulation enforcement, which is existing ordinances. What can we use to enforce any closures on the beach, and our communication outreach, as well as victim services. The Beach Safety Committee recommended a number of different things. They would like to see a pier barrier installed, and that's kind of coming out of some things that we saw in Holland State Park and other state parks, where you see a number of folks who are going out and not being aware of the conditions, or not being aware that that there's hazardous conditions and that it can be swept off. So pier barrier of some type was recommended, along with some signage and the implementation of fines for crossing the barrier, and increased enforcement of the pier. There was a recommendation to adopt an ordinance authorizing a designated official to close the beach or water in specific situations, to implement fines and increase beach enforcement. That's one of the things that South Haven is very interested in learning more about, what the DNR is doing about their recent land use order. And I had a chance to talk with Casey Mahoney and learn more about that. So we'll be continuing to kind of see how that's implemented, and what are the standards that they're going to be implementing for those kind of closures. We also looked at our beach signage. And one thing that's really apparent as you come up to the beach is that all the signs face the parking lots, or every place that people walk in, but maybe people walk away from the lake shore, and either they're going to the bathroom or they're going back to the car. And we thought, why aren't we making our signs double-sided, so you can see the warnings on both sides of the signs? We looked at other kind of signage, such as temporary signs, possibly LED things. So learning more about what Muskegon has done with their LED is going to be very interesting. We also looked at eliminating maybe the third, or the double red flag. That's really confusing for a lot of folks. There's some confusion as to what a red flag would be. You can't go in the water versus a double red flag. So for some time now, we actually have not been implementing a double red flag. Here with me today is Brandon Hins. He's our SHAES director. He oversees our SHAES, the beach monitoring program. So SHAES is our regional fire and ambulance authority. And we hire them to go out and they monitor our pier throwing devices. So we make sure that daily, someone is going out there to make sure that that equipment is in good repair, that is there, and that it is untangled and ready to be used. should someone need something like that. Also, they check our beach flags and, put up the flag that coordinates with the conditions for that day. And this year, we actually implemented a couple new things. We started using the Nixle messaging service that it sounds like a couple other communities are using. So when we go out first thing in the day and we put up the flags, our 14 poles, because we have beaches, we have, I think, 5 or 6 bathing beaches, in addition with North and South being the primary ones that people go to. A Nixle message is sent out to all people who had already signed up saying green flags are at North Beach, green flags or yellow flags are at South Beach, just letting people know. Now, as the flags were changed for the day, either going up in severity, so if yellow flags or red flags were implemented that day, or what flag numbers, or North Beach or South Beach, a secondary Nixle would be applied. So people who are signed up got to hear what were the beach conditions before they got to the beach. That was our biggest thing, is making sure people understood if it's a red flag day, today may not be a good day to go to the beach, and get that out there. We also worked with, I think Shay's worked with our local Visitors Bureau and some other folks, and they created some handouts to kind of show that if it's a red flag day, also kind of talking about what's a red flag would mean, what's a yellow flag mean, what's a green flag mean, and just kind of talking about what those are with the handout. And on the other side, gave them options if they wanted to be in the water that day. Where could they go? They could go on a boat ride, they could go in the splash pad, they could go out to Lake Arvesta, which is an area just outside of town that has a water park. And in fact, they were given, if you were to turn this in, or I think it was just general admission on red flag days, they would get 20% off. And this is a private entity that's maybe about 5 miles inland outside of South Haven. So these were just some educational things that people were doing to get that word out there. The other things we did, we developed a QR code